when I think about this album, I think I've done this in previous albums as well, is I tend to structure my albums like a movie. I think that just comes from my filmmaking background. It's kind of bled into music creation, that when I think of an album as a piece of work, I think of it as a movie with different acts there's a first act, a second act, a third act. It has kind of those ebbs and flows of energy. I kind of did that with our first full-length album, Manifesto, and I definitely think that we did that with this album. So when you think about it like a movie, I think maybe an audience hopefully would be more willing to kind of accept kind of the genre changes and kind of the sonic changes that are on that album.
The main thing with Regeneration is I like the material that's shaping up on there, but it's, despite it being same producer, a lot of the same tools, a lot of the same stuff, there is a lot of diversity on there, sure. And it's getting all of that, because like Regeneration sounds like a synthy 80s kind of moody kind of synth pop thing.
As I said, another bridge on fire, time to regenerate, time to regenerate.
And then you got like Return of the Black Star, which is a little bit more rock, but still kind of in that vein.
Is this the coming storm? Is this your true form? Wearing the black star, wearing the black star.
But then like Warrior Punk is like a hardcore like thrashy kind of thing.
Slamming to the walls, boxing him in. Patience wearing thin. All he hears is noise.
And then like there's this one, I don't know if you've heard Brand New Life yet, it's like super like stringy and almost like Eurythmics sounding.
Yeah.
Oh, who am I?
So, and all these things are on the same album with all these different sounds. It's cool, I like that diversity, but it's like as an album, you gotta either be along for that ride of like, you gotta like that eclectic kind of like sound on an album, you gotta be either into that or you're like, I like this song but I hate this other one. It's like, what are you gonna do?
The sound of Unheard Sirens Incorporated is it's like a chameleon. The sound moves and it shifts and it changes and it morphs, and you know, there's a quote that I think April posted recently, but I already have it in my own like journal from David Bowie that says, if you haven't gone past the edge where you're comfortable, then as a creative person, you're not really doing your job. Unheard Sirens really doesn't fit in a box, and it's hard to say it's this genre or that genre. We keep creating new words to describe new genres for ourselves, trying to find what the sound is.
I've had several different labels for what we do since I never pinned down the genre. I always just kind of followed my own kind of true north as far as what do I like, what appeals to where I'm at. And at first, with that first EP, I thought it was like kind of industrial. I kind of said it was like dance noise, and then kind of that evolved. I called it Spacebar Punk, kind of as that was kind of always a rib of like, you know, I play tracks in a computer, so all I'm doing is like hitting a space bar. So that was kind of a self-deprecating kind of joke always. Spacebar Punk, kind of, it's punk rock, but you just hit space bar and play it. And so that was kind of the initial genre label I put on it. But that didn't even really fit.
There's so many genres that we're both in, and then there's some overlap that's like very, very tight overlap with like bands that we're equally big fans of. So we started thinking, how can we blend all this and start writing music that kind of draws on all these genres? And so I think that's part of why US, now Unheard Sirens Incorporated, is so diverse in terms of its genres and its style and its influences, because the greatest musicians that we know were never held back by a single album or a single style or a single genre, and continue to just explore their own creativity and give voice to whatever wanted to surface. So that's been our approach from the beginning, is like, well, let's just see what happens, and maybe we'll like write a little something like this, and maybe something inspired by the 70s, by the 50s, by the 80s, by electronica, by EDM, by punk, by, you know, whatever. And so we just keep exploring creativity with sort of an open mindset.
If we just picked one genre and stuck to that, we'd probably be way easier to market, but would be way less interesting, and we'd be having way less fun.
Exactly.
So,
And I hate that we
dark, sassy pop.
I hate that we even have to talk about marketing. You know what I mean?
it sucks, but it's like, you know.
I can never figure out genres.
Because unfortunately, you can't just market music to everybody. Like, I can't go to someone who likes like 2 Chainz and be like, listen to this. Like, it's not gonna work.
Like if we get Peaches to pick up our cassette, we're made.
Right?
I think audiences are have very eclectic music tastes, but maybe they don't listen to one band that does that all the time, that changes styles all the time. Maybe they have a playlist. I feel like the album in some ways this album feels like a playlist.
It's easy to lean on the goth scene just because they have this sort of,
Yeah.
genre goth thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, there's influence, sure, but
exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
no,
saying.
we're goth adjacent.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
goth compatible. We're not goth.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like it's so hard to like pick a thing and be like, this is what our band is. You know, but like if I was just to create, like, say one thing, just be like, we're a pop band. We make
Exactly.
pop music.
Now I'm kind of, as far as from a marketing standpoint, just to kind of sell it to people, I've kind of started selling it as pop music from an alternate universe. Because I feel like I especially try to find kind of a melodic hook or a pop hook into the music, but I don't feel like it kind of fits necessarily like just saying pop music feels a little bit too generic. So saying pop music from an alternate universe is kind of indicative of like, this is something alternate, this is something other than. Because I personally feel like I'm from an alternate universe or another planet. And so it's feeding into that idea of our music is also from another planet. And that kind of sets people in that mind of like, okay, this is something other, this is something otherworldly and different, but still hopefully poppy and hopefully catchy and hopefully gets its hooks into you.